I have put it off for long enough. I am now actually going to read this. Over the hills and far away. Copyright notice. Sonic sat in the lookout tower high above Knothole. The rotating duty schedule was one of his least favorite parts of being a freedom fighter, namely because it always led him to having a lame job, like being the lookout for a day. Sure, he did his duty. It would be suicide not to. But it was exceedingly tedious. With another sigh, Sonic wrinkled his nose and rolled his eyes. Absolutely nothing. No robots, no clouds, no breeze. Nothing. What he wouldn't give for action, anything. Sonic, a voice yelled from below. Sonic's mood changed faster than he could run. It was Princess Sally. The only reason she would call him from lookout duty for would-be trouble. Action, finally. In a single fluid movement, Sonic was down the ladder and striking a laid-back pose for the princess. Sonic, I need you to, she began. Wait, he said, putting a hand to his ear and leaning in closer. Say that again. Sally looked at the hedgehog oddly for a second. She ran her words over her head once before, catching on. She set her jaw and set her hands on her hips, unamused. Come on, say it. Sally sighed. Sonic, I need you. Sonic took a deep breath and let out a long sigh of satisfaction. Just what I needed to hear. Thanks. You're welcome. Alright, what's up? Rotor has picked up signs of a new zone. Action, thought Sonic. I'm putting together a team to investigate. And you want me on the team, naturally. Yes, Sonic, I do. Your experience in zones may come in handy. That's rather horrible. Right, Sonic said, grinning. We're alone, Sal. You don't need to make up excuses. Sally's look would kill if such things were practical. Look, Hedgehog, she fumed. Robotnik has been really hard on us the past 2 months, and everyone has been rubbed a little threadbare. My fuse is extra short right now, so please, for both our sakes, lay off the macho bit. Sonic blinked, taken aback. Usually Sally would blow him off with quick quips or playful indirectness. It was out of character for her to get a chip on her shoulder. Sonic wrinkled his nose again, nearly making it a sneer. Sorry, Your Highness. I didn't know I had been dropped down to grunt. Oh, don't start something you can't finish, Blue. I finish everything, whether it's mine or one of your plans. Hold it, y'all, an uneasy voice called. The two verbal combatants turned to Bunny Rabbit, who seemed rushed to join them due to the conflict. What is it, Bunny? They asked, in unison, with equal tones of annoyance. Look, the rabbit painted. I know you're right, Sally Garrel. We're all in a bad mood, but we can't let it get our goats. We all gotta remember who our friends are, You're right, Bunny. Sally sighed, brushing her hair from her eyes. I'm sorry, Sonic. Forget it, Sal, Sonic said, brushing by her. Fire leapt in Sally's eyes. Get a pack ready, she called after him. This is so wrong. Controlling her temper. A day pack, Sal. I could get us there and back in a day pack. Sonic, fine. Sonic stormed away. What he was talking about. Short fuses. Ha. Just because she had her tail in a knot didn't mean she spoke for everyone. Robotnik was usually grinning for a certain blue hedgehog, and you didn't see him getting bent out of shape. Sonic stopped dead in his tracks. This wasn't like him either. While he took more liberties with Sally's command and personality than anyone else, he was never intentionally rude. Maybe she was right that Robotnik was getting to him. Or maybe it was the lookout duty. Either way, he vowed to make it up, all by acting civil for the rest of the day. Sonic sculled at the dirt as the as of Sally, Rotor, and Tails and himself went marching towards the new zone. One satisfied look from Sally over his day packing had sent him off again. Rotor played mediator this time and came out in a funky mood for all his trouble. Tails had insisted that he go. Sonic's voice was the only thing that had managed to get the young pup into the team, but Tails was still bitter about how much debate it had taken. A really peachy keen mission this was turning out to be. I thought Tails wanted to be in the Freedom Fighters. Oh well. We're about 50 meters from the zone's outer wall, Rotor announced, as he briefly looked away from Nicole's readouts. Sally nodded and looked over her shoulder to the others, who nodded to confirm they had heard the news as well. At 5 meters, the group stopped. The zone wall should have been visible by now, yet all they saw were more trees that extended eternally throughout the forest. So where is it? Sonic asked, finally, receiving harsh glances from the walrus and chipmunk. Well, excuse me for breathing, he muttered softly. Nicole, are you sure there isn't anything potential affecting your readings? Sally asked. Negative, the handheld computer replied. All data gathering apparatuses are functioning properly. Then the zone wall is directly in front of us, Rotor sighed. Can me and Sonic check it out? More bad grammar, Tails asked from the back of the line. We don't even know where the zone is, much less what's in there, Sally replied. It's too dangerous for you. Then I'll go alone, Sonic announced, sprinting to the zone wall before Sally could command his immediate stop. The blue blur punched a hole through the zone. The air seemed to wobble and distort like a jello mold, causing a section of scenery to dance. Sally and Rotor exchanged tired glances, following Sonic, with Tails jogging to keep up. The zone was direct contrast to the dark, quiet forest. Here the zone seemed to be one giant, well-kept lawn, undulating continuously with tiny hills and knolls. Flower beds of brilliant colors dotted the landscape. Spruce trees stood silently in random locations, in the sky, a perfect blue, was barely disturbed by the occasional fluffy white cloud. The book looked around naturally happy place, taken aback by sudden cheerfulness. Sonic seemed disappointed. Sorry, Sonic, Tails said with a grin. No pits, no bagnicks, or death traps here, figure, Sonic said with a sigh. Any signs of life, Sally asked. Rotor studied Nicole's readings for a moment. A lot of planet life. Mostly flowers and spruce trees. I'm getting only 2 structures here. That one, he said, indicating what appeared to be a colossal pinwheel, and much larger structure down there. He said, pointing towards the middle of the zone. Here, the ground sloped downward, creating a bowl in which a large grassy dome sat. Sonic yawned, dropped off his pack, and flopped down in the grass. If you guys need me, call me, he sighed. And what do you think you're doing? Sally asked, crossing her arms. Napping, Sonic replied, shutting his eyes. Fine, Sally sighed. With a hand gesture, she and Rotor headed for the dome. What about me? Tails whined. Go check out that windmill, Sally called back. Tails smiled happily and flew towards the tower, enjoying the fact that he was given a solo mission. Sonic opened one eye for a second, getting a look at where everyone was headed. Then, satisfied, he closed his eyes and began to doze off. Tails did one last flyby of the giant pinwheel, but found nothing new. He landed at its base and pouted. The thing was on the very edge of the zone, so Tails accidentally rejoined the outside world once or twice. The pinwheel itself was solid with no entrances or exits. All it did was spin without any sign of of the power source. Tails convinced Allie known all was convinced Sally had known already, which was why had sent him there. He sat heavily and frumped. Sonic was right. This mission was no fun at all. A.O. A soft voice called. Tails' head snapped up, and he looked around. The owner of the voice giggled quietly and moved out of view. Tails stood up and looked around cautiously. "Hello?" he called. "Ayo!" The soft reply came, followed by another giggle. Tails wheeled around. Whoever was there, they were hiding behind the tower of the pinwheel. Swallowing hard, he began to creep around the base, craning his neck, trying to catch a glimpse of the newcomer. More soft giggles came as the stranger moved ahead of Tails. Just enough to leave their shadow within sight. While Tails was already potential danger, he would have admitted if asked he was having fun. After circling the tower a half a dozen times, Tails stopped. Frustrated, he turned around and looked in the other direction, coming upon his quarry. "Ee!" He squealed in delight, jumping back. "Ah!" Tails screamed, taking to the air slightly. It was the oddest creature he had ever seen. Its body was chubby and squat, kind of like Patrick's belly button, covered in a soft coat of red fuzz. The palms of its hands and its entire monkey-like face were white. The oddest features it possessed were circular antennae sprouting from its head and looked like a gel-based monitor screen, based in its stomach region. The creature was just as tall as Tails, if not slightly shorter, and looked up at the cub with deep brown eyes.